Battlezone 98 Redux. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer who bought this off Atari when they went bankrupt and are now trying to rehash it and make some money cheaply. One of the greatest sci-fi strategy games of all time returns spring 2016 with remastered visuals, online multiplayer and near unlimited mod content from Steam Workshop. Enter an alternate vision of the 1960s where the space race is nothing more than a cover for an interplanetary war between the US and Soviet Russia. The Soviet Union wants to be my motherland. Take command of an army of sleek heavy assault tanks, strike cruisers, APCs and more, and wreak havoc with superheated projectiles in your mission to blast your enemy from the face of the Moon, Mars, Venus, Titan, Lore and Europa. Yes guys, this is a redo of an old game. I remember Battlezone in the amusement arcades in the early 80s, guys. It was the machine of death. Nobody dare play it. Nobody, because as school kids on our dinner break, we would go into these arcades. I'd be on the Williams Defender, because I was awesome at that. But Battlezone stood there alone. Nobody would dare put their face up to that screen because it had a little, like a visor thing that you looked through. And if you were foolish enough to do that, the big lads would come up behind you and smack the back of your head so hard that you'd nut the fucking machine and break your nose. So nobody dare play Battlezone. That wasn't a very good version. It was all like a mesh shape. It was like a 3D mesh. But that was the first 3D we'd had. But then it came on to PC, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I remember it being very difficult. I remember it being brutal, but it was good. It was a different type of game, just whizzing around in your tanks and all that shit. And then Battlezone 2 came out, and me and Mesh went halfies on it. He denies this, but we went halves on it. I know we did, and I think he got to keep it, the bastard, because we cracked the exe, you know, so we could both... I can't say that. But it was a great game, Battlezone 2. But anyway, this is Battlezone 98. This is the original one. And I picked this up and I thought, hey, a trip back to the world when games were good. And so I jumped in, stuck it on medium difficulty and had my arse handed to me on mission 1. I then managed to scrape through mission 1, but on mission 2 I failed to escort the scavengers. And I was told, hey, games back then didn't f*** about. They didn't care whether you went and killed yourself. You know what they said? Said, you're not ready, Mac, for battle. That's what he said. He says, you're not ready. You're not ready. You're a fucking noob. You're shit. Get good, you cunt. That's how the games talk to you back then. Not none of this, oh, you know, just enable X-ray vision. You'll be fine, and you'll be fine. And it's just a token mission. You can't possibly fail it. Not like games now. That's what they do these days. Yeah, anyway, what do you have to do? Because we're 4 minutes in and I haven't even told you what you have to do. It's an RTS game played from a first-person view where you are on this planet and you have got to set up a base, and you can only set up a base where there's power. Power looks like sperm. No, it doesn't, Mac. It doesn't. Power looks like a geyser of steam flying up and not like somebody doing something else. And what you do is you have various bases that require this power. Your recycler is like your main building base, so you would tell your recycler by clicking on it, well, targeting it and pressing space, that selects it, or you can just press the corresponding number key you can see at the top left, and then you just point at the geyser and say deploy on that, or you can say go to nearest geyser, and if that's the nearest one, he'll go and deploy it. He then unpacks like you've seen in many RTS games, and then he can build scavengers. Now what a scavenger is your little harvester. He'll go out and scavenge bits of metal and bring them back, and you can then build other stuff with that, the metal. You can also build an armory, or you get an armory and you can put that on a geyser as well, and that builds stuff as well. There's a vehicle factory that you can put down, and the vehicle factory builds vehicles. You've got different types of these hovery kind of vehicles. You've got main tanks, you've got light ones, which is the ones I like because I have the missiles. And I don't want to spoil it because, you know, it's nice to see these unlocks as you go through the game. The control is a bit. It's a bit, guys. It's just as I remember it. It's like you're hovering. You've got to remember you're hovering, so there's that bit of inertia when you're aiming. It's quite difficult to aim, but you can press the T key to lock on to the enemy. Well, it targets them. It doesn't actually lock on. A lot of your weapons are actually, you have to manually aim it. It doesn't just do it for you. So if you're a console player, you're gonna fucking suck at this. Actually, you are, because it does support partial controller, but it's pretty shit with a controller. It is much better with a keyboard and mouse. And obviously, most gamers today don't even know how to hold a mouse. It's like, well, what is this block? What do you do with this? Do you put it on your head? Is it a hat? Is it a hat on your head? Where's the trigger? I have no trigger here. Why is this not locking on? How can I not shoot properly with this mouse? You have to aim? What does aiming mean? Why can't I see through that wall? What the f*** is... It is hard to aim, and you will get your arse handed to you until you learn how to aim properly by strafing your craft, using the left and right strafe, and circle strafing the enemy, and all of this. I'm getting my arse handed to me, so, you know, and I'm the best gamer in the world, so if I'm getting my arse handed to me, you lot are going to get raped. You are fighting against the Russians. I don't want to spoil the story, but there might be others as well. But essentially you are... Yeah, let's not spoil it, Mac. You're fighting against the Russians. Let's just pretend you only fight against the Russians and you don't find an alien artifact and all. Yeah. And they have a base, and they build up a base, and they attack your base. You can build turrets, and you can place your turrets around the base. You can tell any vehicle to follow you. You can tell the scavengers to repair you. You can get rearmed by building ammo, which gets shooted out to the top of the bases, and you can get health kits shooting out, and you can get buildings that'll heal you and rearm you, and all of this kind of stuff goes on. What is fun is if your tank gets blown up, you get ejected out. You get fired right up into the air, and when you land, you still have a chance of fighting, because you get a little gun which is pretty shit, but you also get a sniper gun. Now the sniper gun uses 3 rounds, and that's all you get, 3 rounds. But what you can do with a sniper is you can fire at one of the enemy tanks, and he will immediately turn and come towards you, and if you snipe out the light on the front of him, that kills the pilot, and then you can go and steal his ship, which is great. And you'll do a lot of that. I haven't done much of that yet because I'm so good I hardly ever die. But if I do die, that's what I'll do when I die. And I did that a lot, and I will die a lot as I get further and further into the game. You can just ride around with a load of tanks following you, which is nice. You just say, hey, you mate, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. And you can do patrols around your base, and you can go out and you've got to find new sources of metal to scavenge. But each mission has an objective. It doesn't have a skirmish mode, which sucks. I wanted a skirmish mode in this, and they should have added one, but they haven't. It's not really much of a redo. I mean, it's like, I don't even think they've done a lot with the graphics. I mean, they're saying that they've, you know, redone the graphics in HD. They look shit. What do you redo them with? Vomit. They look awful. They still look like they're from 1998. You know, I was expecting a lot more. It just doesn't give me that sense that, oh, this is an old classic brought back to life. It's kind of like, oh yeah, this is an old classic that they've done very little to and just kind of, you know, just make it work on Windows fucking 7 and 8 and all that. And there you go, done. That's how it feels. It still has a lot of the problems that the original had, the clunky aiming and stuff, the awkward selecting of units and that, unless you use the actual number keys. They could have used a lot of the technology that we have today in 2016 to make this a lot better. You can't even rebind the fucking keys, guys. I mean, they've said on the forum, oh, yes, thank you for bringing this to our attention or something. It's like, have you not got a fucking tester? Did you not test that? That's the first thing you should ever, you know, when you're making a game, can you rebind the keys? Everybody wants to rebind the keys, but no, not in this. It says you can rebind the keys, but when you try to press a key to rebind it to it, says, sorry, that's been used. Yeah, well, that's fine. It's been used by something else, but can I just rebind it, please? But they're going to fix it in a future patch, so just thought I'd mention that. And obviously the same with the controller. There's problems. There's problems, guys, but if you're a WASD keyboard and mouse user, you're fine. You'll be able to do it, no problem at all. It does have multiplayer, but there's only like 3 people and a cat actually playing it at the minute, and it doesn't have co-op or anything like that. It's just kind of deathmatch stuff, so it didn't really appeal to me, the multiplayer. It has Steam Workshop support, so there's a shitload of mobs and maps. There's a map editor with it as well, so there's a lot of stuff to keep you going long term with this. So there you go, guys. That's Battlezone 98, all redone apparently, although it didn't actually look like it had been redone. The graphics still look shit, and yeah, but it's worth a buy. It's good fun, but not an easy game.